This is episode 3 in the series about our contribution to the pipeline foundation for the project pydeps. Check out the Devcontainer configuration in the previous episode. Hello, I'm Alex from Singlet, and in this video we will cover the build and deployment pipeline for the Devcontainer Docker image. Let's get into it. As mentioned in the previous episode, the goal for the Devcontainer configuration was to make it as specific and as lean as possible. In this case, it turned out that the build time of the image is quite long, mainly because of the unconventional Python installation. You can see in this screenshot that the build time is about 8 minutes, so we decided to create the whole image build and deployment infrastructure so that specifically the building of the image is done only once instead of every time a new codespace is created. This way, when anyone wants to contribute to the project and decides to do it through GitHub codespaces or locally through remote containers in VS Code, the waiting time for the creation of the Devcontainer is mere seconds, which are spent simply downloading the pre-built image instead of the 8 minutes of build time. So here is the pipeline that takes care of the building and deployment of the image. It is executed only on the default branch and when there is a change in the Docker file of the image. It could also be executed manually if needed. The pipeline is run on Ubuntu 20.04, as are all of the project's pipelines as mentioned in the previous episode. As environment variables, we've set the image tag and the Docker username, so they could be reused in the steps of the build and push job. As always, first we check out the repository with the official checkout action. Then we log into Docker Hub using the official Docker login action. Something interesting to keep in mind. We found out during the building of this pipeline that using Docker CLI to log in to Docker Hub returns a warning that the token is saved unencrypted in the config file that is used by any Docker operation that requires authentication. At that time, we decided to use the Docker login action instead of a CLI command because we assumed that it deals with the login in a different, more secure way. However, it turns out that the action logs in the exact same way and just masks the warning, and therefore the Docker CLI login command and the Docker login action are at the same level of security, relying on the security of the platform the instruction is executed on. The next step is building the image through a simple Docker CLI build command with disabled cache and more verbose build log. The last step in the pipeline without any bells or whistles pushes the image to Docker Hub, and that's basically it. One thing to point out here is that there is an official fully functional and reliable action to use in the build and push steps, which is called, unsurprisingly, build push action. So why then we use a mix of actions and plain scripts? Well, our philosophy on the use of actions and scripts so far was mostly on the side of plain scripts with CLI commands to achieve whatever functionality we wanted in the pipeline. That philosophy is changing, and a video about our internal discussions on the topic might be interesting, so let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. In this episode we looked at the Devcontainer image building and deployment pipeline. We discussed its time-saving purpose, the functionality we added to complete the pipeline, and the security concerns we encountered. Stay tuned for the next episode in the series where we discuss the build agent Docker image configuration for the core continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline of the project. If you need assistance with DevOps implementation in your open source project, check out the description of this video, where you will find links to the Pipeline Foundation project board and onboarding application submission. We are at your disposal. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts about this video, please let us know in the comments, and feel free to like, subscribe and strike the bell if you'd like to hear more from us. Until next time, stay safe and aspire to DevOps.